Hello everybody, this is Conquering History Games and welcome to a new campaign on the channel with some Crusader Kings 2. First thing that I want to do is I want to say thank you very much to Paradox Interactive, as always, for granting me not only a free copy of this DLC, but also allowing me to have early access to it so that I can play it, people get to see it, they get to know what's coming, and we can all get hyped together. I'm very, very excited about this DLC. I know some of you have followed my Crusader Kings 2 reports in the build-up to this, and besides it being a brand new DLC, the other reason that I'm really excited about this is I'm going to be playing in an area of the world that I have not played yet, but I actually know quite a pretty, I'd say more than the average bear about, and that's going to be medieval Iberia. And that is what was chosen by the members of my Discord who answered a poll I did. I think I did it 2 months ago or something. But I said, when Holy Fury comes out, what campaign do you want me to do? And I gave them a list. So first thing you might notice is we got some new images here. And also we could do the Shatter World, the Randomized World thing, but we're just going to go to Custom Game Setup. So for those of you who have not seen me play Crusader Kings 2 before, I almost always start at custom start dates because I find it fun to go and search for certain historical figures and then play as them in the game. So 1066 and 1187 and the Latin Empire and all this, they're all perfectly fine start dates, but if you really start digging through and looking for specific historical figures, you can find some really interesting snapshots of Europe. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to come over here to the Latin Empire, and we're going to move a little bit closer. We're going to go specifically to the year 1217, August. We're looking for August 31st. And on that day, Fernando III of Castile, known to history as Saint Fernando, to many really, is going to be the character who we pick. Now I'm going to talk a lot about him over the course of this campaign, but just as a super quick overview, this was somebody who is descended both from kings of Leon and Castile. He was a descendant of Eleanor of Poitiers, who was the one who was married to the French king, and she went on the Second Crusade. He was also a descendant of Alfonso the Great. I'm not sure which of his bloodlines we're going to be having there. But that's what you need to know about him for right now. Let's jump in. Okay, we're going to do, Ironman Mode. I actually do want to start doing Ironman Mode more, but there's no achievements right now with the campaign, because I have the early access. So besides that, let's see if there's any new things here in regards to Holy Fury. Here we go, Holy Fury. 4th Crusade events enabled, Children's Crusade is enabled, Northern Crusade is enabled, Reconquista, you better believe that that's enabled. And then Child of Destiny, rare chance of characters growing to become great conquerors with higher attributes and special Castile. We're going to be getting all of that put together. Besides that, everything is going to be fine. We'll even do the Hellenic Revival. I don't think this is going to be my Roman restoration run, but who knows, maybe in the future. I probably will want to do that. It's kind of one of those rites of passage things. Everybody who plays Crusader Kings 2 needs to at some point restore the Roman Empire. Okay, so here we are, medieval Iberia, 1217. We're just going to take a little snapshot of the world before we get started. For those of you who are new to the channel, I'm somebody who actually has studied history, and I continue to study history academically and eventually professionally. And so what I like to bring to the table is a little bit more historical knowledge than your average player of a game like this. And so I like to contextualize and point out some interesting figures that maybe most people haven't heard of. And you guys will hopefully like that. So, okay, we already talked about how we've got, character, let me just go ahead and disable all the hints. Yeah, I had to completely uninstall and reset the game. I had to totally delete all my folders and then reinstall the game in order to get Holy Fury to work for me, the early access copy. So there's going to be a couple things that are on the default setting there. Anyway, we are going to... What was I? It got me off my train of thought with that. Now, a couple of the characters that I wanted to look at. First off, we have over here as the King of England, King Henry III. He's only 9 years old right now. Now, this is the king who, if those of you who've seen my Egyptian campaign, this is the son of King John. This is the one who was the famous one from the Robin Hood stories, brother to Richard the Lionhearted, son of Henry II, who signed the Magna Carta. And Henry III was his child, who became king as a child. And as I often have said, is most famous for having been the father of Edward I. So he's kind of just an in-betweener kind of king, although he did do some interesting stuff of his own. Over here in France, our neighbor to the northeast, we've got King Philip the Great. Is this some sort of new French portrait? That looks very majestic. So King Philip II the Great of France, usually known as Philip Augustus. I actually played a campaign, that if you go check out my French one, as him. First true king of France, stylizing himself after that, not calling himself King of Francia, but full-blown King of France. Really took France from a low point in its history, where really most of modern-day France was owned by England instead of them. And he helped, he took back a lot of that land. He defeated both the Kaiser and the King of England. So certainly deserving of the title Augustus when you look into him. Now, over here, just two more characters. I'm not going to do as many as I did in the Egyptian one, but something I think is kind of interesting here is we've got Queen Isabella II of Jerusalem, who is in charge of the Kingdom of Jerusalem right now. Small though it may be, it's basically just a little strip along the eastern Mediterranean Sea at this point. But she was, as you can see, she's only 6 years old here. And she wouldn't live for very much longer. She passed away, I believe, when she was 16. Was not born in Jerusalem. She was actually born in Sicily, I think. And was the daughter of the previous Queen of Jerusalem, who's right here, Queen Maria. Who is it? We got King Corrado of Jerusalem. No, I don't think it was him. It was her second husband. I don't know if they're all there. Okay, maybe it's there, and that's just the spelling. But her mother died a little bit after giving birth to her, and so Queen Isabella was Queen of Jerusalem for basically her whole life. And she was, in fact, the queen because her father... Oh, here we go. Jean de Brienne. This one. Yeah, this is what I was looking for. This is her father. He did not have any sort of claim to the throne. So she was queen, and he just ruled as regent. Now, she eventually would get married, she being Isabella, when she was 11 years old, to Frederick II. The idea was that he would become the... I'm not even looking at her. There we go. The idea was that he would become the king of Jerusalem by marrying her. And this was all part of a plot to get the 6th Crusade going. You know, the Crusades did not end with the 4th. But even though they got married, I think it was actually by proxy. They never actually... I think they may have never actually met each other, at least not until after they were married. Anyway, so she eventually gets pregnant, even though she was only 15 or 16, and gave birth to a child, and then she died shortly afterwards, and then the child did as well. So I want to say that she was the last queen of Jerusalem. All right, a couple more things I wanted to point out here. First, you'll see we got big old Rum here, still taking up quite a bit of Anatolia, and the Byzantine Empire does not exist. We still have the Latin Empire going on under Pierre here. So this is a good time for the French. I'm positive the French got some new faces. I'm sure of it. They definitely look different. So yeah, we've got this Catholic French person who's claiming the Latin Empire, claiming to be the new Eastern Roman Empire in a way. And over here, this isn't even the Byzantine Empire, it's the Nicene Empire under Theodoros here. So obviously he's going to be trying to take all that back. So it's gonna be interesting to see how this plays out. But geez, you got big old Georgia here right now is a bigger stronghold of Orthodox Christianity than the Nicene Empire. You know what I mean? Then we have the big old I never know how to pronounce this. Khwarazmid Empire, or Sultanate, I should say, under Muhammad II. So this was originally not this big a sultanate, but this was due to a lot of the conquering that this man had done. And historically, at this point, 1217, he was actually writing to Caliph al-Nasir here, and of course to Muslims all over the world, basically saying, look at me, look at how freaking strong I am the Caliph now. Look at me, I am the Caliph now. That's what he was trying to say, massacring people in cities along the way. Of course, karma is going to come back and bite him in the ass regarding that, in the form of a certain Mongol Empire, which is about to just completely unleash itself and come west. And it's under Genghis Khan here, Temujin, who I'm sure I don't have to tell you all about who the heck this is, but there he is. There's all his children, all his mini children. Actually, has Kublai Khan been born yet here? You know what? It's fine. We'll look for it later, or maybe not at all. But so that's just a little bit of an example of what's going on in the world. So at the moment, coming back over here to Spain, or to Iberia, I should say, we're kind of in the midst of the meat of the Reconquista, of which Fernando the Third here, I don't know why it says second, he really should be the third, although I think it might have been he was the second of Castile, and he's later the third of Leon. It gets a little tricky. You have things like that where guys have different numbers depending on which crown they're referring to. But he takes basically the kingdoms of Spain, the forces of Christianity, the furthest south that they're going to go against the Muslims, until you get to the Catholic monarchs of, obviously Isabella and Ferdinand of Aragon. But he does this by uniting Leon, and he gets sanctified. I don't think he's got, where is it? Which of these is he going to take? Well, I'll talk more about him later. The point is, right now, it's a tricky situation, because we've got 1, 2, 3, 4... These guys independent? Yeah. We've got 5 Christian kingdoms all hanging out here in the northern half of the continent. Certainly not united. And to our south, weakened as far as territory on the peninsula goes, but certainly more united than us, we have the Almohads. Now, these are fundamentalist members of Islam, much harsher than the Abbasids that came before, and I'll talk about them later. But we're gonna have a bit of work to do to get down there, but it's gonna be fun. We're gonna try out the new Reconquista thing, although we can't do that right away. As you can see here, it's gonna cost us 500 prestige, 250 piety, and 200 gold to start preparing for a reconquest war. Although we'll get a maintenance-free regiment once we do start that. So there's a whole lot of stuff to be done here. I know I've been jabbering on and on, but let's start exploring it. And by the way, I haven't done any practice stuff here other than to make sure that Ferdinand was a character. So all the new stuff, I'm going to be learning it along with you. I hope you all enjoy. Thank you for your patience. Now, first things first, we're going to recruit a court physician. Now, I'm not saying I'm going to try to do everything that Ferdinand does, but I think we could do pretty well. For example, let's check out my father here. My father is the King of Leon, so I am his heir. So, maybe do a little quick plot to kill. No, we'll leave him alone for right now. We'll leave him alone. And hopefully the Almohads will get busy doing something or other. Also, we got a brand new map down here. New impassable areas throughout Iberia, which I like. This is quite accurate. There's a lot of mountains out there. Manichaean faith. Okay, we got some titles that could be created. We can create some duchies. Of course, I don't have money for any of that. We have a weak claim that can be pressed against Aragon. Really? Claim Urgel. We can take one of their provinces. I think Christianity should probably try to stick together for the moment. Now, we're not married, so let's try to fix that first. We're going to do a search of just adults. See, I'm only 16 too, so I got a long way to go. Let's look for somebody. Let's see, we have a princess of the Holy Roman Empire. You see, that sounds like a good start. She's craven. She has no diplomacy skill, but pretty high intrigue. I was going to go looking for strong or something like that, but I think we already have a winner here. Plus, we'll get a bit of prestige. Oh, speaking of prestige, let's open up the brand new bloodlines. And in fact, we do have 2 famous bloodlines. Bloodline of Eleanor, bloodline founded in 1122, +5 general opinion, +5 personal combat skill. One of the most important women of Western Europe, she was a patron of literature and a military commander, as well as a leader in the Second Crusade. Excellent. And then over here we have Blood of Alfonso. So this was I think this was his great-grandfather, Alfonso the Great. I want to say it was great-grandfather. Bloodline founded on March 8th, 1126. Castilian opinion +5. Monthly prestige +020. Nice. Lord over half of Iberia, Alfonso claimed the title Emperor of all Spain and sought to unify the peninsula under his rule. He was also known as a patron of the arts. Cool. And there's quite a few of us out there. Yeah, like you see the other King of Leon. Well, obviously that's my father, but you know, there's a few of them out there. What other descendants do we have here? Yeah, this only gets passed down to women, I think. Or I think only women can carry it on. So, like, the Queen of Portugal right now also has this bloodline. Very cool. All right, ambition. Make a friend, create a treasury. That could be fun, but no. Maybe, yeah, let's get married. Just get some quick piety. As for my focuses go, let's do some business for at least a little bit. Although, yeah, we're going to do some business. As far as the societies go, I did become a saint. I was a member of the Franciscan order. I'm already getting into my role-playing, but Fernando the second, or Fernando the third, should be the third, damn it, I'm positive it's the third. He's been canonized under the Third Order of St. Francis, so we should have him be a little bit religious, I am thinking. We're going to have him join the Dominican Order. Yes. God's blessings upon thee, King Fernando II. We are delighted by your decision to join our ranks as a lay member king. Together we shall strive for the betterment of ourselves and our fellow Catholics by following the rule of St. Augustine. Go with God, signed Conversus Vernon. It's a great honor, Conversus. Alright, so we've got that taken care of. We joined our society, and okay, what else do we want to do here? Promoting commander, holding summer fair, searching for a smith, perhaps? Yeah, we could start to do something like that. I got a lot of things I want to do that are all going to cost money. We've got some special title actions possible. Of course, we're going to throw into Toledo. Very important holy city, in much part because of what Fernando did during his reign. We'll just auto-assign the commanders here. Now, as for all my chancellors and whatnot, what are we going to have them start doing? I guess we could sow some dissent, maybe. Yeah, let's have them do just that. Go sow some dissent down there in the Muslim world. Collect some taxes, please. We can go study some technology. There's got to be... No? Okay, maybe not. We could build a... Let's have our spy just go down there for right now. What's the religion looking like? Alright, we mostly have got Catholics in our realms, though. There is a little bit of a Muslim foothold down here near Calatrava. And finally, we're gonna research some military texts. Now, how big is Toledo? We've got the barony, the bishopric, and the city. At some point, I think I'm gonna want to build a temple there, because but that won't be till much later. All right, so Princess Marie and King Fernando II are getting married. We can collect a royal aid duty to pay for the ceremony. 21 gold would be nice, but no, the people respect wealth. So these two have gotten married. We should have fulfilled that ambition now. Terrific. So next, I think we're going to go for creating a treasury. I'll have 3 artifacts of at least quality 2 in the treasury. And then whenever I'm done for 5 years, I'll have additional prestige and vassal opinion. So I do like to load up on the artifacts, but first perhaps we should focus on having a son. Now it's not a big deal if I die, because it'll just go to my father, and in either way the 2 kingdoms will be united. Let me tell you something. You want to know the number one reason why the Reconquista took 800 years, if you ask me? It's because you kept having these kings who would unite all the Christian kingdoms, or at least most of them, and then they die and they do Gavelkind succession. And anybody who's done Crusader Kings knows that that is very painful and annoying. Alright. One of your scouts report of a cunning eunuch who has taken up residence in a nearby tavern. The eunuch spends his time drinking wine, eating, and sharing stories with the guests. Apparently, he is very well schooled and has vast knowledge of medicinal mixtures. An offer of gold and food would definitely convince him to take up residence at your court as physician. Okay, yeah, sure. Of course, we have also the new interface, with personal combat skill, combat modifiers are here. Diplomacy, claims. It's good. I like it. I like the new interface. I think it's much cleaner. It looks good. Alright, now we're gonna let some time go by. Now, as I was saying earlier, one of the things I'm curious about... Well, there's a couple things I'm curious about. First thing is I want to see how Aragon's going to do with its land that it has in France. Oh boy, here we go. And up here, we've got England. I want to see how they're going to play out with the Child King. And I'm especially curious about what's going to happen with the Latin Empire. And of course, the Mongols are going to start coming west really quickly, as I'm sure you know. So let's see what this event is. Italian. You know what? They definitely put new faces in here. These do not look similar to me. The faithful prepare for war. A messenger approaches us with a letter from the Vatican, from the Vicar of Christ himself. He's asking us to prepare our men to fight against the heathens and infidels, to restore Christendom to the lost places of the world. The Pope wants to send our faithful Christian men against Jerusalem. The region is held by the Mohammed Sultan al-Dail Saif al-Din of the Ayyubid Sultanate, and it is time to return it to Christianity once more. Though the Pope wants to invade Jerusalem, a pious Christian could convince everyone to focus on another objective that is of more value to us. My men are ready to Jerusalem, or I shall consider... Yeah, I could just pledge it right now and get 100 piety, or I should consider preparing my men. We're gonna... It's a quick 100 piety. It ain't bad. I don't know if I could prepare... Or I could help change it after I already pledged. We're gonna pledge. Now, let's see here. Crusade Beneficiary not selected. As a participant in the ongoing crusade, a beneficiary should be selected so that when the inevitable victory occurs, our dynasty should share in the spoils. So I think this is another fresh one. All right, the crusade is going to start in 1219. Of course, you got to prepare. This is more historically accurate. It doesn't just happen instantly. People got to get their stuff together. Now, on the defending side, these are the people who we're going to be looking at here. Pledged. There's quite a lot of people. Knights of Santiago and things like that. My total strength is 61%. I could choose a beneficiary, so basically somebody in my dynasty who will pick up the land if we win. Like, who am I going to crown? I got my half-brother Pedro here. Oops. But maybe not necessarily him. And we've got our target. We would need 250 piety to change that target. And the way I think it works, although they could have changed it from when I saw them live stream it, is if let's say I pay 250 piety right now so that I could change the target of the crusade. The next person in who's pledged who would want to do that would then need to pay 500 piety or something like that. And I think it either keeps doubling or it keeps going up by 250 in order to change the target once more. Of course, I would love to change the target over to something over here, make it Granada or something. Wait, what is this? Stance. I need to make a decision if I should comply with papal will or go my own way when it comes to distribution of the titles in the case of a victory in the Crusades. I can let the Pope decide. If the crusade is won, the Pope will grant the titles to the papal crusade recipient. If there is none, it will pass down to the beneficiary, the most participating member of the crusade, or my beneficiary will get the titles. If the crusade is won, I am the most participating member of the war, but the crusade title will be granted to my beneficiary, or why should I give my titles away? Pope Martinius' the second opinion of me will drop by 20 for 20 years because I'm a self-serving crusader. If the crusade is won and I am the most participating member of the war, I will take the titles for myself. Interesting. Well, for right now, we'll do this with the beneficiary. We'll keep it that way. So what we're going to do, this guy's already got an heir that's of my dynasty. We will have it be Pedro, the commander of Leon. We could also contribute to the war chest. The prestige is distributed based on participation when the crusade succeeds. Let's see, how much gold can I donate to the crusade? We can give 50, and I'll gain 25 piety if we win, or I say I can simply not afford to do anything. Okay, so I can click it and I don't have to commit. Alright. Distribution of 12 artifacts. The top 2 participants will receive 2 artifacts each. The remaining artifacts are then handed out in participation order to the remaining participants. Distribution of 3,700 piety and distribution of 1,374 gold. Really liking all this. Great. Very, very different mechanics. I love it. Alright, so what we're going to do then is we could give some gold to get the piety. What's that 0.3? Is that tax, huh? Is that tax for filing it? And what we're going to try to do is switch the target if we can. That might be a little tricky, but we've got about a year and a half to do it. Hopefully nobody else does. All right. Costanza approaches me as I'm on my way out to tell me how happy she was to hear I had pledged my men to the Crusade and wish me luck in the upcoming war. Thanks, I appreciate it. We both like each other by plus 15. Great, that's nice. Dear Fernando, I would like to invite you to join me for a small gathering of friends to dine and drink and forget about the world outside for a little while. Please be prepared to reserve a few days for this, in case we truly get into the spirit of the proceedings. This is my marshal. He does like me. Alright, he's probably not going to kill me then. Yeah, I will come. Alright. So we're off to the races. This is Holy Fury. There's that new Africa. What is this? Somebody wants to marry my mother. I'm just going to decline that immediately. Of course, we have Muslim Delhi up here. Turkish India up here in the northwest going on. Wait, what is this? I write to inform you that the Holy See no longer supports Isabella de Brienne for the lands of Anatolia with no fitting ruler. I will let you faithful men and women of the cross decide whose titles might befit. Any pledged participant with the papal recipient stance will have their stance changed to beneficiary recipient stance. Interesting. So the Pope had... Wait, I want to make sure I understand this right. So the Pope had chosen... Wait a second. Let me figure this out. Where's he at? King Anso the Strong. But if I'm reading this correctly, the Pope had a beneficiary. It was going to be Isabella de Brienne, the father of the current queen of Jerusalem. But he decided no, so it just reverts back to everybody else or something. Well, right now our total strength is really good. We've got 143% more than the Muslims. So, yep, looks good, looks good. Right now. Prince Leonor of Castile is now of legal age. This is my sister, right? No, it's my aunt. She's now a mastermind theologian. We could try to sway her to a cause or antagonize her. So many new things. I'm not going to lead armies this time. Actually, I will allow it. I will allow the leading of armies. Lenore Alphonses. She's a mastermind. Actually, that reminds me. We haven't even looked at my own stats. I'm so sorry about that. So we're pretty middling to low. Nothing too spectacular here, but I am a flamboyant schemer, which is increasing my intrigue. I've been crowned already by Pope Honorius III. So the Pope himself put this crown on my head, which means I'm getting a half a point of monthly prestige and piety, church opinion plus 10, vassal opinion plus 10. Meanwhile, there's a jihad going on now for Anatolia. Where in Anatolia? Like they're going after Armenia. And the Abiyids are dealing with a revolt, which is going to make them more vulnerable when in a year's time the Crusade begins. We are carousing off at that feast, so getting a little bit more prestige. Great. And what kind of laws do we want here? I think we're going to switch it up to Crown Authority Medium. Alright, next. These days of revelry are an excellent escape. So many laughs and so many intense conversations in such a short time. It brings me closer to my companions. I feel like good friends already. Great. Great, great, great. all parts of the Kingdom of Anatolia. Yeah, I got a little bit of prestige for doing my carousing. Got a lot of people contributing to the war chest. Good, good, good. What is going on here? Aragon is at war with somebody. They're defending against the Almohad Sultanate in the Almohad Holy War for Barcelona. That's over here in the northeast. So in the next episode, we're gonna see maybe about jumping in to help Aragon, or maybe we won't, because then that's one less Christian kingdom I have to deal with. But I know not a whole lot happened in this episode, but that's going to change up moving forward because I just was giving a little bit of an intro. I'm going to be spending lots of this campaign, though, talking about the history of medieval Iberia. There's a lot of cool stuff that was going on then. And, of course, we'll just unite it all under Christianity eventually. Can't wait for that. Thanks for joining me. I'm Conquering History Games. I hope that you are excited for Holy Fury. And subscribe to me if you haven't already. And click the bell so you're always notified whenever a new episode in this series is going up. You all have yourselves a wonderful day. Bye.